So I was recently on a film set as the director of photography for a film that we're producing set to come out sometime in 2022. What I wanted to do here in this video is to kind of give you some insight as to what I learned being on that film set. Number one would be that shooting outside seems like a great idea and seems like it should be really easy, but it can actually be a pain, especially when you're shooting outdoors in South Mississippi in the middle of hurricane season. We filmed outside a lot, so having tents set up outside is a must because look, we were outside. We were about to film the first shot of the movie. This was like exciting. This was the opening shot where there was going to be lots of people, a DJ, barbecue, and all this stuff. Everything was set up and we were about to hit record and all of a sudden the sky fell down. Just as we were about to start filming, it starts raining. So we had to quickly move everything into tents. We had to cover all the gear up in all these tarps and everything. We're safe, but it's lightning out here too, so I'm gonna sit in the car for a little while and try to stay safe from the lightning. It took out half the day, literally 4 hours of just rain. We actually did really good because we sped up production. We got about 3/4 of the stuff that we were supposed to shoot that day done, but that meant that we had to come back to the location another time and get some more shots. So we ended up having to modify the lighting to make it look overcast even in some direct sunlight. All right, so as you can see, the sun changed drastically, which means that we have to modify a ton in order to get consistency for what we had yesterday. So having all of that lighting modification really comes in handy. Number one would really be when you're shooting outdoors, be prepared for anything. Number two is that consistency is key. Consistency even trumps audio quality. It trumps everything. If you've got a guy running in this direction, then the next shot, he should still be running in that direction. That remains for everything else. If you're shooting in an overcast scene, like I was just talking about, then the next shot needs to also be overcast, or else you just lose consistency. What you don't want to do is have your audience be able to jump out of the story at any time. You don't want to do anything distracting so that they jump out of the story and be like,
"Hey, this guy's a great big phony!" Come on, Chris.
The third thing that I learned is that setting up shots actually takes time. So you'd think that you'd be able to jump from one shot and just quickly move over to the next shot. But when it comes to having directors, lighting, when you have your AC, you've got talent that all need to come together on this one shot, it actually takes 20 to 30 minutes between shots just to set up. And that's not counting if your actors have to rehearse the scene, if they need to go over lines, if you need to block the scene to figure out where your actors need to stand. And all of that stuff takes time. Having crew to help you also takes time, especially when you're working with a small skeleton crew like we were with this indie film. We have a lot of people that is their first time on set, a lot of PAs that don't know what they're doing. Luckily, we had a few PAs that really knew what they were doing and were really experts, and you guys know who you are. But teaching people how to set up rigs, how to set up a scrim gem, how to mount a camera, it takes 1 or 2 days just to train your PAs in order to do this stuff sometimes. And having patience to do that is definitely something that you need to work on if you're going to be on one of these low budget films like I'm on. The fourth thing I learned, and I learned it pretty quickly, but in my opinion, not fast enough, is to take breaks. I'm used to being a run and gun, all-in-one type guy, and I would just work until the job's done. On a feature film set, though, there is so much work that you have to pace yourself. It's like a marathon rather than a sprint. Doing work like these 30-second commercials to 10-minute short films that I'm used to isn't going to work. Yeah, you can get more work done if you keep pushing and get it all in a day, but the next day, I still have to get out there and get it done. So to remain consistent throughout that process, I had to learn to slow down, take breaks, sit down sometimes in order to maintain my stamina throughout the week. The fifth thing is to learn to trust your crew. Now, I talked earlier about having to teach PAs and all that kind of stuff. That's beside the point. Yeah, you do have to teach them and then trust them with the stuff. But there are going to be people that are above you as far as, ranking, priority, I guess rank. You've got your producer and you've got your director. So the producer is going to be like your event coordinator. They get everybody there on time and they get the ball rolling on when things need to happen. And your director is going to be the guy that has the story in their head. They know the actor's expression that needs to be on their faces, and they have the whole movie kind of in them. And so that's who you're going to be leaning on a lot as to how the scenes need to be set up, and being on the same page with them, trusting their ideas, trusting their creativity, and learning how to collaborate with all of these people is a huge thing, and probably the most important thing to learn when you're on a movie set, how to collaborate and still how to get your vision across. Because when it comes to bigger crews, even skeleton crews like the one I'm on in this indie film, when you are working with people, you're going to come up with this mesh of ideas, and the end product is going to end up being kind of this pool of creativity of all of your ideas meshed together and then presented to an audience. And hopefully they like it, because there's a lot of soul that goes into it. It is art. It's putting yourself out there and letting the world see it. So I hope that helps. Now, this was just week 1 of filming, and I'm hoping to have a lot more behind the scenes stuff for you guys to check out and do. And if you want to see some strictly behind the scenes content, you can check me out on Buy Me a Coffee. I will link that in the description below. I know that I've got some really great creators following me on this channel, so I'm interested to know if you guys have ever done any kind of film type stuff, even if it was just a short film project, and what you guys learned about that. Let me know in the comments. Other than that, we'll see you guys in the next video. Like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, but we'll see you guys in the next video.
Man, yesterday was a roller coaster. We started off great. I showed you that footage, but then it started raining, but we were lucky that we're at this location and the owner of this property gave us permission to be here for a second day. So we're trying to get all the stuff shot today that we didn't get yesterday.